Welcome back to the Elite Series. Matchup 2 is just moments away as the players get ready. It's going to be Method versus Infused. Now, looking at Method, they lost last week 3-1, but that wasn't their strongest lineup. Today, it should be a lot stronger. I want to get your predictions. Gregan, we'll start with you. What do you reckon, Method versus Infused? Doomsy gave us the Doomsy wiggle, but is it going to be enough to get the win today?
I genuinely believe Infused are going to play better than we're expecting here because they have a lot more experience in the stage environment. Recently, Infused got further in DreamHack, which is a LAN tournament, than the opposite team Method did. But I think Method are going to win this. I think it's going to be a 3-1.
Ooh, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, look at, you know, my heart says Infused, my head says...
telling me no, but my body... Yeah,
but
whatever.
my call sheet.
What does your call sheet tell you on set?
I'm going with Method. I'm going to go with Method this week. I just think, you know, all round, they've got a lineup there that have been together before. You're adding a new player into this Infused lineup. There's always that question mark if they're going to gel straight away. So I'm going to go with Method, but I do think it's going to be a really close match. I think we could see this going right down to a Game 5.
OK, very exciting stuff. I tell you what, we will see what happened in just a moment. What I'll do right now is throw over to our casters who are just behind me, Shogun and Johnny Boy. Gentlemen, how are you seeing this one going?
Are we really allowed to say that, or should we stay impartial?
No, that's boring.
Oh, no. Well, I'll tell you something. As I was chatting to the Method boys backstage, they said, please don't predict us to win because we always lose when we're predicted to win. And, yeah, I guess all the analysts have just sentenced them to death now because they've done exactly that.
OK, well, that's half a prediction.
That's my prediction. Infused are going to win. Infused are going to win because the analysts said the Method were going to win.
All right, well, Superstition's great. OK, let's just go with Infused. Just go Infused. Superstition is fantastic. But we do need to look at this, as they mentioned over there. New roster entirely from Method there. Solid first roster. We were actually speaking before we came on over here. This might be the game that we look at the end of the season and just go, this is the reason why this team's #1. This is the reason why this team is seeded #2. This is honestly could be the battle for the very top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I completely agree. This could be, like you say, the moment that we look back to. And I'm going to be looking very, very closely at how Method start this series because I know that, you know, superstitions aside, what Gregan said is true. Infused have the LAN experience. They've been here at Gfinity Elite Series, and they've also been to Insomnia, and that is 2 places the Method have yet to prove themselves on. And the only place where Method did go to a LAN, they didn't do so well. They didn't perform as well as Infused did.
Well, there's also a case of Method lost last week with their other team. They're coming into this week against one of the top teams in the entire league. But this time around, they have to win. Going 0-2 to start the entire season will be such a devastating start. Yeah,
we're going to be looking right now to see how the first game gets underway. It's good to see Magnus with a smile on his face there. We'll be paying a lot of attention to him. He's been a player plagued by nerves.
And the question is does Doomsy have a smile on his face? We can't see it, but of course he does.
Of course he does.
We know that for a fact. But that's pretty much Infused's main source of morale. If Doomsy is happy, then the entire team should be happy. But because Doomsy is such an emotional player, if it goes wrong, that entire team could start to drop down. So momentum is going to be huge. This first game is going to be huge. And speaking of this first game, Johnny Boy, let's get into it.
Yeah, we can see game faces are on there, and for a good reason. Game 1 is underway. Infused with the early possession. The ball is bouncing towards the net, and it is somehow going to go back here. It is in, eventually. Am I seeing things, Shogun, or was there a double goal explosion?
Well, I saw that as well.
I swear I saw a double goal explosion.
I was looking at it just going, have I...
If that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what it is.
Is there any Taurians in here?
No, it was probably, yeah, the demo. But there it is, 1-0 for Infused. A shaky, shaky start. That was not a very difficult center ball to defend, but it just rolled right across. Immediate response, though, from the Swede.
Okay, guys, you can chill it out a little bit, make the 1 goal worth a little bit more. There is going to be such a thing as goal inflation if you keep going this way.
There we are, a lot in the Dominus today, so I didn't get a chance to see them practicing backstage in that one game where Method, they did say that they beat Infused in a ranked match, a competitive online game. But this is completely different. This is the stage. This is a tournament. And Infused will not be too worried about one single game loss in a ranked match, I'm sure.
So we're going to be looking towards that man right there who just got contact on the ball. I ignite. Player that has been around multiple teams, usually used as a solid substitute for any high-ranked team that just doesn't have their entire roster, so they'll just pick him up as someone to fill in. And he's going to try and show off exactly why that is. But with any player, as we saw earlier with Prophecy, no one wants to be the substitute. You want to have that performance that really shows you off and gets you a solid starting lineup roster in the future. So we'll see what he can do.
It looks right now both teams certainly hitting the ball cleanly, which does bode well for a game one. But neither team willing to slow down the play, look for dribbles or passing. Very end-to-end, a lot of unforced giveaways of possession, which is not too unusual. Both teams just want to try and give themselves plenty of room to breathe at the back. Ignite is up. This is going to be a third-man aggressive move from Doomsy. Great confidence from the Infused captain.
There was no other choice there but score the ball. As soon as two players commit, he has to score this. Otherwise, that entire net on their end is completely open. Method would have been able to counter. But as you mentioned, all the confidence to go up. And that is going to be Infused retaking the lead. Last week, very good at end-to-end offense. Pretty much started the majority of their goals from their own half. And they just played it with a long pass. This time around, much more confident. Putting two up in forward as Ignite tries to flick that one. We are still got over 3 minutes remaining. As both these teams pressing forward. Ignite is actually going to miss that. But no one on Method pressuring. So Infused will be safe.
Doomsy's looking very, very strong right now. We can't understate the confidence that was required to go forward for that aerial. In the Method box with both of his teammates out of commission. Doomsy, a player who very often has said himself that he struggles with the stage environment, but not so much today, and certainly not last week. Maybe Gfinity Elite Series is the place where he is going to elevate his play to the best of his ability. Just reaching halftime here, and Infused do have the lead. It's a great shot from a lot, but Doomsy once again is there to clear up the spoils.
Two players committed. As Infused starting to make a little bit of a habit of that. But these long clears are going to force Method all the way back. As they still have 2 minutes remaining to try and get themselves. Metzenaris, great first play. Tries to take it past yet another. It is still going to be available, but once again, Method only sending one. And it seems like their confidence in offense is just not quite there. And against Infused, you really have to try and pressure them.
That's a miss on the boost steal from a lot, so Infused will have plenty at the back. And speaking of misses, Ignite picks up a second goal for himself, a third for Infused, and it is, again, not a goal that we would expect at this level. Magnus with a clean whiff on a routine aerial save.
They will not be overly happy with this right now. Still plenty of time remaining. But it just hasn't been Method's regular style of play. Struggling to really put anything together. And start taking a little bit more of a look towards their back boost because they have been slow across the majority of the pitch. Whilst Team Infused are getting away with absolutely everything they try, and a lot.
Doomsy
is now no longer a member of this pitch as Method have to move forward. But once again, Metzenaris, even if that pass was completed, due to the demo on a lot, no one was going to be available for him to shoot at.
We have seen this sort of shaky, almost, play that is a little bit too fast for Magnus. Oh, that's a great passing play by Metzenaris there. Swept up by Infused. But I recall back to Magnus's phenomenal own goal in the opening match of the RLCS group stage in Season 3, which they did go on to lose. And that whiff on the save looked similar to me. It was one of those aerials where he was only thinking about getting there fast, and he forgot to, remember that sometimes you can get there too fast before the ball has even reached the location. That is why he did miss that entirely. Looks like he is playing a little bit better right now, though. Good safe play in the back corner. Unfortunately, though, they need more than safe play. They need 2 goals in Game 1 to bring this back, and it is Infused looking so solid right now.
Yeah, Infused just happily leaving one player, constantly attacking the ball. And they've won it pretty much every single time. A lot will not be happy with that contact. It's going to waste even more time. Ignite tried to find the net, knowing that his third was not going to come forward with him. But that is going to be Team Infused taking their tally for the entirety of the Gfinity Elite Series up to 4-0 as they take game 1 over here.
Undefeated streak continues, and look at that. Ignite, the new player. He has stepped up and he's got the MVP. 2 goals to his name. They were a little bit fortunate, and that by fortunate I mean the Method defense not performing as we expect for either of them. But we'll have to keep an eye on that going into game 2, because at least, if nothing else, Ignite is getting chances.
Certainly is, and there is one thing we have to be a little bit afraid of when it comes to this Method squad is we need to allude again to DreamHack. They went out way earlier than we expected in a game that they never really got started in. And they didn't really get started in that game either. This will be their opportunity to really try and show against that. They either start a game really well or start a series really well and end the series really well, or they just don't start at all. This is their opportunity to see whether or not they've made improvements on that, and they can now take this first loss and just go, okay, it's fine, shake it off, go into game 2, new mindset.
Yeah, for the time being, though, it looks like the prophecy from the desk might be, you know, going wrong, just because the Method are almost cursing themselves now. They don't.
You're gonna make me start believing in Ghost at this rate. You know that.
Well, if they truly believe that they are going to play worse when people expect them to win, that's something that they're going to have to overcome, because they are the favorites for this event as it stands. Their roster online is the strongest, and we have yet to see that. Although we have only seen them play 1 game, so we will not be too quick to judge. Great performance though from Ignite in game 1. It was going to be tough for him to get up to the same level as Radio did. But the one thing of note is that Radio certainly not up against as tough competition as Ignite is today.
And that was the important thing we saw last game, is Ignite actually taking those shots. Most shots taken throughout the entirety of his team, up to 5. And usually when we see a new player join a team, they're usually quite scared. They're usually quite tactful with their chances. They'll usually go for a pass rather than a shot. But Ignite showing that he has been on that many teams that he can just slot into absolutely anything. As 7am has continued his weird streak with names, but nothing weird about that. Crucial for Method.
That's a really, really big goal. A lot just winning out a race in the midfield. Ignite this time. The defender is flying a little bit underneath the ball. Big, big goal for Method. They need to find confidence. The thing that has been lacking in the past when it has been most needed. Probably the strongest performance to date is almost knocking out the the time world champions Flipside from the Season 3 RLCS playoffs. That's a match where they were the underdogs, but they're never going to be underdogs at the Gfinity Elite Series. As we have always said, they are the favorites in the minds of most analysts and pro players here. Look at that, twitter.com/7amrl. Shameless.
Shameless plugging.
A level of shamelessness.
We should not be encouraging this. We should not be encouraging you to go and follow twitter.com/7amrl. That would be really bad of us, really irresponsible.
No, I wish I had the confidence to rep my Twitter like twitter.com/7amrl does.
So what, you shouldn't go to twitter.com/JohnnyBoy_I?
Oh, you got it right. Thank you.
Of course I got it right.
Shogun, I know you've done this in the past as well.
I'm very good at selling out.
Look at that dodge by a lot, but the demo presence was there from Doomsy. A little bit too much though. Committing it for the demo and the bumps with 2 players there for Infused rather. Leaving no one in the middle to receive the pass. But Method will have to be careful. There's a lot of passive defending in the goal. Nice war pinch by Magnus there. It's good to see Magnus with a much cleaner game 2 after a couple of slip-ups in the opening game here.
Ignite doing a very good job so far of controlling the midfield area. Not only sweeping after that first one, but coming through and causing this sustained pressure that Team Infused are beginning to enjoy. There's a lot, actually. Lovely pass over to Metanaris, but Doomsy takes it away. And a poor landing means that he will not be able to win that challenge.
What was that touch?
Just over halfway in this game. Ignite, though.
That's a very threatening pinch.
Looking so solid across the field. And it's actually 7am, I believe, that has been the most quiet throughout this series.
Yeah, 7am, he did have a chance about 30 or 40 seconds ago to open the scoring for Infused in game 2. But his line of approach didn't leave himself many options to attack the goal with. A much, much better game for Method. When they have been hitting the ball, they've been hitting it very well. Just a couple of times where they've missed it entirely. that's turned into really, really bad situations. I do have to credit, both teams are picking this ball around very quickly.
Very solid so far. Sebadam tries to go for a demo, but Magnus already up. Infused still chasing, still challenging as they enter the final 90 seconds. But struggling to go for those passing plays. They made it a little bit too obvious so far as Doomsy was trying for a ground pinch of some sort. He's not able to get it, and every single time they play it forward, Method are fully aware of the situation, aren't pressing themselves, and are leaving someone back. So every single time we see them
It's a good first touch.
pushing forward, it's just not working out. This is actually much
Sebadam.
better. Such a great way of going about this shot. Gonna go rolling. It's
surely.
right there into the net, and Doomsy and the rest of Infused have tied it up.
What a goal. Great ground play from Sebadam. See, he teed that up for Ignite, and then the ball does spill off the far post to Doomsy. A full team play, a bit of a chaotic team play, but a team play nonetheless.
And so impressive there by Sebadam. He realized every time they were playing a long ball, Method were ready for it. So rather than playing the long ball, controlled it instead, took it down in front of him, and then caused absolute havoc.
Yeah, something we really didn't see in the first game was that ground play. A willingness to slow down the play when space does open up in front. Two players up. Necessary hit from Sebadam there. Of course, it's better to send two people than nobody. And Infused do escape. Fairly okay from the same double commit. That's a potential own goal. But Sebadam once again is at the back to clean it up. Final 30 seconds. All tied up. If Infused can close out this game, I really don't see Method reverse sweeping with how inconsistent they have been in LAN environments up to this date.
Ignite wants to try and get this back. He's actually managed to open this up for Sebadam, who chose not to
Oh,
go forward.
big,
He's got
big
the opportunity here. He's going to try and place one straight down. Double tap! Cannot put that one straight in, and Doomsy is going to be there just a little bit too late. All of Infused want to get themselves forward. They want to end it right now, but we are going to go to overtime. But what a flurry at the end.
Wow, that play by Sebadam. Air dribble into a self-set double touch approach.
Oh!
Where Menzanoris from the ground will tie the series.
I believe the professional term for that is kneecapping.
Oh my goodness, Sebadam just got completely stuck in no man's land. You could see him trying to drive forward and close the distance, but too late he realized that Menzanoris was going to beat him to that ball so much earlier. But that's it. After an almost game-winning goal from Sebadam, the ball goes over his shoulder, and they have lost game 2. This is really, really interesting now because Method are on the board. I did say that I didn't expect them to reverse sweep if they lost that game. Well, they've won it, and it was a close game. If they can start off strong in game 3, I think they're going to be comfortable favorites to just 3-1 this. But Infused, I don't think they're done yet.
Certainly not. I mean, the majority of those stats went in the favor of Infused. Method only with 3 shots by the end of that game. They scored 2 of them in order to take the win, but now it's going to be interesting. We said earlier, Infused are the enigmas of this league. They are very, very momentum-based, and they've literally had it after plowing and attacking that goal for so long, just ended. Got snuffed out like that by 1 shot straight off the overtime. Now they need to mentally regroup.
And it was a mistake for Infused to even allow that kickoff to happen in the first place, as they did not need to neutralize the ball in the center with the strategy they employed, being the back boost grab and leaving one last player in net. Nobody around the middle of the field in that iteration, but that's where the ball stayed. So they will definitely be kicking themselves, but they need to forget about it as fast as possible. Just get right into the mindset for approaching game 3 in the exact same way that they started game 1, which was with a lead.
Certainly do. So, speaking of that game 3, let's get ourselves into it, shall we? As we will now have questions risen from both of these teams. Method picking up their first win of this series. Can they capitalize it? And can Team Infused respond to a game that they felt was in their favor and then suddenly was just taken away from them?
Sebadam there trying to set himself up there from a point-blank range shot. I'd be very surprised to see something like that working in these games. But they have scored less likely goals. Another whiff coming in there from Magnus. He needs to steady himself because that was an open net shot which went wide from Ignite. chances like that, if you give those to Infused too often, you will get punished, as Metsonoris rattles the crossbar at the other end. Extremely end-to-end gameplay here.
Yeah, both these teams are going for half commits on the rotation. And that is opening up space for the long shot. Both teams have gone away with it, though, as we've just come to the end of our opening minutes. Sebadam, this is how they got the goal last time. He set it up ever so well. But Ignite just gets beat to the ball. But Sebadam's individual plays are coming up huge for Team Infused, and Method have to start shutting that down.
Yeah, Sebadam, first player in this matchup who has really shown consistency from the ground. Although we have to give credit to Metsonoris, scoring a ground shot to win game 2. It was a very good back wall read from a lot. We talked about in the first series of the day, back wall passing dominated the series for Prophecy, came out on top over at Excel. But a lot showing that he is very, very comfortable defending the back wall. Oh my goodness, point blank range save from Magnus. Infused are creating so many chances here. What are Method going to do to stop that? It looks like right now they want last-ditch goalkeeping to be their main strategy. But that is always a nail-biting one to use.
Well, they've also got the opportunity for Infused to send all 3 players forward, like they did for that very last one. So they can catch Infused out with no one in defense. As you can see how they roughly go about that. Ignite, seeing no one's back, chooses to play up the wall. But now is going to be Method's opportunity off that back pass. Doomsy has to try and get the block, and he has got up there in time. Now Sebadam will try and play it over, but Method looking confident. Both these teams are hitting their stride, as that could go all the way. Magnus has to touch that, but Ignite has it read, just didn't have the boost, however, to take the entire way. Another pass, and the Infused, I must say, are using a lot of those cutting infield passes, but every time they've tried it, Method have got it read.
I do love the mix-up, though, from Infused, not making it too obvious what their main offensive strategy is going to be to avoid interceptions from Method. I want to highlight both these teams doing a great job of defending dangerous backward rebound situations up until now. But again, another fast pass into the middle. Sebadam alone at the back. He's happy with the amount of followers he was able to get from game 2, taking that tag away. Well, that's a great setup from a lot. Into the final 2 minutes. Next goal is going to be huge in a very low scoring game 3. It may just be a 1-0 final score. But you never know. This game started off pretty explosively. Or this series, rather.
Oh, that's a big miss by a lot, however. Sebadam can start moving himself forward. But Magnus always on that goalkeeping line. He is ready for it. Doomsy out of boost. Cannot get there in time, but Infused are going to take the sustained pressure. And Method needs to make sure they get these back boosts. There is one available right there. But Metsonoris can get a hold of it. This means that they can sustain themselves for a little bit longer in defense.
They just can't get it clear.
They can't at all, and that means they've also given up those middle boosts as well. Metsonoris, huge clear. And it's actually worked out pretty well, but Sebadam and Ignite working together. Magnus with the pass over to a lot who does miss it. And Magnus, he's going to have a think about it, but Ignite there just in time.
A lot is still going to keep the ball in danger area. Metso with the whiff. So close to getting that connection, and then a lot previously as well. This is a wide open net. Where is the shot? Magnus with a pass in field. No one is there.
And it's the same thing as game 1. No one was around. They've seen the scoreboard, they've seen the time, and they've decided to completely back off. There was an opportunity there for Method, but they were not bold enough to take it. Final 20 seconds. There is going to be the huge negative angle shot, and a lot could have just taken this game.
That's the most animated I've ever seen Method on stage. A lot was so close to connecting with that shot earlier, and he does make it on the second time of asking. Phenomenal aerial play by a lot, the deftest of touches, but the acceleration coming out of nowhere. It is so deceptive. That is a massive, massive goal. One that could shape not just this series, but the entire Gfinity Elite Series as a whole. Can Infused tie the game? It's not looking likely. It's the ball's near happen. Oh my word! Metza, forget about tying the game. Let's double our scoreline. What an angle, oh my word.
Our Method ready to play on the stage. You're damn right they are. What great play. They've put this up to 2-0. And at the very least, they've confirmed themselves at least 1 point, no matter what the end result of this game. But they will look to put this up to 3 and deny Infused any points from this week.
But look at the faces of the Method boys. They're looking very happy with themselves. And I can see why. That was explosive in the final minute. And a series which was very quiet for them in the 14 minutes prior, or at least not consistently a loud series. But wow, that was something else. This is why Method are, in the minds of most people, the favorites to take this entire series. Infused with a lot of work to do now. Can they come back from 2-1 down?
Well, Infused really need to start changing up this rotation a little bit. They are being caught by long, long plays. You're going to see one of them right here. Magnus over to a lot. No one in net. And you're going to see the exact same thing for goal number 2.
That's why the fact that a lot is even in that position, he's reading Magnus's clear long before Infused are. And then Metza with a huge statement at the end there. Just a celebratory goal. They already had the 1-0 lead. They just needed to hit the ball into the ground, but he went one better, just put it in the opposition net, 2-0. And we're going to be going into game 4 of a best of 5. Like Shogun said, we do have 1 point already for Method. Any 3-2 series in the Gfinity Elite Series gives 1 point to the team that got 2 wins and 3 to the team that got 3 wins. So getting a win in a series is 3 points regardless. That's what Method really want. They're not interested in 1. As we've already seen, Metsanara is certainly never happy with just 1. He always wants more.
And that'll be huge for Method as well, considering they started off with a loss in week 1. When they had a different roster playing, a lot is going to be by himself. And he had to try and take on a very K-Dop-esque boomer of a shot from iGnite, who has looked very comfortable, I must say, on this team. Now Doomsy will try and put that down, but a lot, once again, has gone from whiffing the ball somewhat frequently to being an absolute pillar for this team.
Yeah, you do mention iGnite again there. He has looked more like part of the team than Radio did, although Radio did get the MVP for week 1 because of his stellar solo plays. Great timing on the half volley there by Sebedam, keeping the ball away from danger.
But those half volleys do not work very well against Method, who are consistently rotating all the way back, picking up their back boosts. So every time you go for a long clear like that, they're just going to pick the ball back up once again and try and go for a new play.
And there's a lot once again downfield. He's trying to play in this middle position so that he can catch the clears from Metza and Magnus before Infused do. Oh, that's a phenomenal demo. It would have been Metza moving in for a shot there, but he got annihilated from behind. Ground play looks like it will be the main method of attack for Team Infused. Not just from Sebedam now, Doomsy a few times taking the ball to the ground with the dribbles. And once again, Sebedam now. This is very consistently what they're trying to do. Maybe they've identified that as one potential weakness from Method. They're certainly not the best 1 versus 1 players. I always hear the Method boys saying themselves they're not, or that they hate ones. That's the word that they love to use.
Yeah, that from quite a few pros, actually.
Certainly not from Sebedam.
Certainly not. Him and Doomsy actually usually scrim for quite a long period of time. Doomsy will openly admit that Sebedam takes the majority of those.
Oh yeah, Sebedam's 1s game is very, very solid.
It's Method now. I've just been very patient throughout this series. There's going to be Magnus taking a shot, and that's a great save. Thankfully, Sebedam is available, and iGnite also narrowly misses, slamming straight into Sebedam, who's managed to go the entire way with almost no boost. Sebedam still available. Not too sure how much he's got available to him, but a lot. And Metanaris coming together. And this is the scary thing for Team Infused. They've been caught out of position a couple too many times. Whilst they have been in the offense, that's how they lost that second game. And that's how they conceded the majority of the goals in that third game. So just need to be that little bit more careful.
Yeah, Infused really need to keep their eye on a lot when he is landing downfield from 50-50s or making offensive runs. Right now he's just sitting in goal, but it's when he does things like this, when he lands upfield, this is where he is most dangerous, because if Magnus can hit the ball in his general direction, a lot can pull a redirect out of anywhere.
Oh, if only iignite had A, decent positioning on the floor, and B, a little bit of boost. Could have been in for the very first goal. Metsunara second got it over the top of 2, and that's going to go straight off that post. Once again, Method have been denied by the post, but they will continue to press forward. As a lot has actually won that. He has beat so many players on the challenge. It's worked out so well for the Method boys. But we are starting to reach the same situation we've seen so many times between these two teams. One goal with very little time remaining could separate them, as Team Infused are going to try and chase that second win and guarantee themselves at least 1 point, whilst Method want to try and take all the points and leave nothing for their rivals.
And a lot is continuing to be the troublemaker. Looking for a ceiling pass, which you will find. Metza was met by Doomsy at the near post, though. Great respect by Doomsy for a lot's ability, but Magnus has done one better. This is in a really dangerous position. iignite needing to come in from the side there to rescue Doomsy and Sebadam. 30 seconds remain, all tied up still, but Infused are looking very shaky at the back. Method, on the other hand, have not looked this solid all season. Oh, that's a great save by Sebadam. That should have been 1-0 though. A lot had the whole goal to aim at.
And now they're on the counter-attack. iignite with the pass over, but no one is available to them. Should have thrown at least one more player forward. And we could go to overtime, but once again off the post. 3 times that post has come in. It is not playing favorites. It has completely betrayed both of these teams.
It's so close now. 1 goal will give Method the win that they'd so desperately want. Infused 1 goal away from forcing the ace match. The first game 5 of the Elite Series. And it was them who created the most dangerous chances in the final 10 seconds. Like Shogun said, the post coming to Method's rescue not once but twice. And that is a dangerous pass into the middle by iignite. Hitting the ball the wrong direction. Boost is at a premium right now for Infused.
And Team Infused also needs to be very wary of these extra touches. Method have been getting double taps when Infused have just simply not expected it. iignite looks to launch. That is going to be open for the time being. Magnus has to get himself back, but Sebadam is there on time, and Sebadam is stepping up.
iignite with a phenomenal setup. Metza was not able to deal with that dunk from iignite. He took the ball past both Metza, or past Magnus, and a lot on the right wing. Drilled it towards the near post. And Sebadam had all the time in the world to pick his favorite part of the goal to aim at. And wow, we are going to go to a game 5, Shogun.
Once again, iignite, top of the board for Infused. All questions when it comes to this man have been answered. He is everywhere on this pitch. He has got phenomenal saves, phenomenal goals. But right there, he provides a phenomenal assist. And Sebadam could just gobble that one up. Ladies and gentlemen, we build this one as not only the game of the week, but potentially the game of the season. And it is living up to that billing in every single way.
And the only thing we can ask for now is a game 5 overtime.
Of course.
But before we can get into that, let's take a look at the replays from that game. So many posts. That was Magnus creating 1 opportunity. Metza bringing another one. And this is all in the final minute and 30 seconds.
Gonna have to go and check down.
Again. Wow. Incredible that Sebadam was even able to create a shot into the post there, but there was the final goal and the winning goal for we have to give so much credit to iignite there.
Yeah, we really
so much
do.
of the dirty work.
Really do. He is pretty much all over the pitch right now. He is taking a lot of boost, but he's also not being greedy with it. He has done something every single time. But Method, once again, they are starting to grow across the pitch. We saw during games 2 and 3 roughly how they were doing towards the back, forcing long-range clearances into passes and then force them into goals. This game around, we saw them using a lot more of the final third, attacking Infused. And we're excited about this right now. I want to hear actually how the crowd are doing. Ariel, we're going to go over to you.
I just literally ran into the crowd because it is, well, neck and neck, as we know, in the deciding game. I've got Ryan here. Ryan, who are you rooting for today?
Infused all day.
Oh, yes. Infused on it. So you obviously loved that last goal straight in there.
Yeah, I loved it. It's like great, but hope Doomsy does well. So
Do you think they've got this in the bag now? Method were very confident that they were going to win this, but Infused also said that they were bringing their A game. Do you think Infused have got it in them to do this?
It's a different environment. Like online, I'd say like Magnus, Metznaris, they're great players, but like in a setting like this with so much hype, I feel like it can go either way. But I want it to go to Infused, so it's all good.
Amazing. Thank you so much for chatting to us. Back to you guys for the deciding match.
Johnny, didn't he sound exactly like Doomsy?
He did. He did actually. We were looking around like, is that Doomsy? We were trying to find Ariel in the crowd.
But, like, I could just imagine Doomsy just pulling off the headset, just jumping straight into the crowd and just going, I'm rooting for myself! Yay!
He would root. Well,
of course
he's got to root for himself. But yeah, we will be paying very close attention to Doomsy. He said in the past that he has choked when it matters most. Well, this is the one time where he needs to step up for his team. Ignite and Sebedam combining forces to get that winning goal in Game 4. Now it is up to them and their team captain Doomsy to do one better, take down the league favourites Method in the title match of the day. This is Game 5. This is the ace match. Only one winner, although the loser will get the 1 point, the wooden spoon of the day.
Doomsy's going to take that early shot and attempt a late save. Metznaris will come through and bail Magnus out, but we saw at the very beginning of this, the panning shot, a view of the faces of these teams. Doomsy, no longer his laughy, chuckly face. He had the Doom face on. And both these teams
great redirect.
are going to be out looking for blood, but once again, Infused have to be worried all over the pitch about the offensive prowess that Method can bring towards them. But both these teams will be happy to get to the end of this opening minute and not concede and just slowly ease themselves into this match.
Sebedam has been so on point with the timing for these half volleys. Now we see Doomsy taking a leaf out of a lot's book, waiting downfield. Sebedam with a flick. Ignite, or Doomsy rather, barely missing on the rebound. Great team play though in the lead up to that. It was consecutive touches from Infused that led to that chance.
But once again, Sebedam brutal when he has got the ball on front of his car on that bumper. He almost did it yet again. That is 4 times we have seen him able to carry across the entire pitch, and there is a whiff from Magnus as he had his opportunity to try and take us through. Metznaris was waiting. He was lurking for that shot. Both these teams have had some throws of the dice, neither of them coming through. That's going to go top left-hand corner. The post yet again. Here comes Doomsy with the follow-up. Opening goal for Team Infused.
What an aerial shot to set this up. Sebedam reaches around, manages to get the ball back across the net by hitting the inside of the upright. Doomsy and Sebedam showing synergy just like they did in week 1. 1-0 Team Infused. We have plenty of the game left. 3 minutes, 24 seconds. But with how this is going, Method, they need to change something up. They're waiting for Infused to make a mistake, and it just isn't happening.
Oh, that could be it. Going off that sidewall. Here comes Magnus with the follow-up. He's going to try and get it straight out to a lot who cannot get the angle for a shot. And one thing I did notice, actually, is despite the fact Infused actually lost an entire game off it, they are still going for the exact same kickoff style. So clearly not superstitious,
yeah, they don't like
unlike the Method boys.
Oh, this is another double commit from defense. The one thing to note, though, is whenever Infused are making these double commitments to get clear balls or saves, they are at least getting a really, really good clear with the one man.
Oh, that's open!
Oh, there's another great finish. Doomsy coming in from the side. And it is Ignite this time with the setup. Just completely reading Magnus's hit forward there. And that was not on target. Doomsy needed to get that touch.
Method, for the first time, over-rotating as they tried to get the ball in the middle of the field to continue to force their offense, but they could not win it. And Team Infused have taken advantage of pretty much their first open goal of the entire series between these two teams. But Infused did this last week as well. They took the opening lead, and then they completely annihilated that final game. Method cannot afford to rest on this for too long. They have to get one back, and they have to get one back very quickly.
And this is going to really scare a lot of the other teams in the league, like Prophecy, who were able to win earlier today. They said they're going to be watching this, expecting Method to win. Now Infused are going toe-to-toe and even inching out in front. Sebedam's ground play has been spectacular. A mind game onto Magnus, just creating so many chances for his teammates, from his flicks, from his dribbles, and now from his fakes.
They don't get you many points, but they do get your team goals. as we enter the final 100 seconds of this series. Method not only need to get goals, but they need to get this out of their own half. That is going to be another shot. Magnus gets himself a savior medal with that, and now they're going to try and go end-to-end. Metznaris off that backboard, ends up being a miss from Sebedam.
What a
and then Doomsy comes flying in, shuts the door on the goal, and now they're going to try and counter-attack. But once again, another one off the post. Method have hit that 4 times in the last 2 games. Unable to get themselves one back into this. And Team Infused will hold on to their brace.
And I am expecting Method to credit the post just as much as they do Infused. What a save, oh my word. That was so dodgy from Ignite, but he managed to save himself, the blushes. The ball is still in front of the net for so long.
And once again,
there.
Method, we saw this in game 1. They're doing it in game 5, where they're 2 goals down, scared to throw that second player forward, scared to get themselves one more goal. And Team Infused are entering the final 45 seconds with a comfortable lead at the moment. There is going to be yet again off the post, as Magnus has to take this entire way.
Oh, it's a waste.
Straight over to Ignite. That is more time wasted, Johnny.
The passing play attempted from a lot in Metza, but it's just not enough. They've not given themselves enough chances at the end of this game. There needs to be absolute trust in those passing plays, but another phenomenal save from Sebedam. Gonna shut Method out for another 10 seconds.
This has to go in.
It's all or nothing.
This has to go in. It's gonna go in!
In a ridiculous turn of events. A Magnus unintentional miss. Does work out well. There's no way that he meant for that to happen, but look at that ball bouncing in. The defense expecting him to hit it. And now Magnus, he's been doing this every now and again this series. It's worked out incredibly well in his favor. 10 seconds, 1 goal the difference. A lot is up, but so is Ignite. This is it, Shogun. Oh, Matson, he's on the back foot. The ball is now 0 second time.
That's gonna do it.
Doomsy puts it on the ground.
What a
Infused
series.
have done it.
What an unbelievable series. Incredible, insane, Infused are the winners.
The best I've ever seen Doomsy play on stage, and Ignite stepping up, looking like a veteran in his debut performance. Just an all-around great performance from all 3 members of Team Infused. They just meshed together so well, and Method looking completely surprised. They did not expect Infused to show up like that.
I have to talk about this last goal, because Method tried everything. They tried ceiling passes, they tried long passes, they tried dribbles, they took shots, they hit off the post, they hit off Sebedam, and then they just didn't hit the ball at all. And that's what got them the goal.
Yeah, it was certainly a ridiculous goal, but a very exciting goal, bringing it within 1 with the final 10 seconds approaching. But Method will need to try and shore up these weaknesses. A lot of misses coming in, and they need to try to avoid that happening in future weeks. There are still 5 games for them to go in the 5 weeks that follow. I think they're okay. They're going to be fine, but they need to start figuring out these problems sooner rather than later.
And the problem for them now is they are 0-2 throughout the entirety of this. This team didn't play last week, but it's still under the brand banner. They are 0-2. We expect them to go on and do pretty well in the future.
Well, we expect 5 wins, assuming Devo doesn't show up for Envious.
Here's the problem. We're looking at this right now as a 3 team. 3 major teams at the very top. Infused, Prophecy, Method. Putting yourselves into that 3rd and 4th position forces you to take on potentially both of those teams on your way through. You want to get into that 1st and 2nd and potentially have an easier match when you head into our playoffs towards the end of the season. That one right there could very well be something we look at the end of the season and go, that's why.
Oh yeah, Infused are set up for success now. We're talking a lot about Method and how they need to be improving. Infused just need to keep doing what they're doing. They're looking great. I've never seen them play this consistently well. We've seen flashes of brilliance from them in the past, but consistency has always evaded them until now. And with that in mind, I would definitely want to hear how the analysts are feeling about their predictions. We're feeling pretty good over here. But Tom, how are you and the guys doing on the desk?
I bet you want to hear from us, Johnny Boy. Thank you, Johnny Boy and Shogun. Yes, incredible. Infused 3, Method 2. They were looking like they were going to be out of it if Method had, sort of got that win in the 4th game. But I mean, wow, what a great victory for Infused. And as Johnny Boy said, probably the best he's ever seen Doomsy perform in any tournament. That's high praise indeed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at Doomsy as a player, as you said himself, he's said he's choked in these high-pressure situations sometimes at events. But the more events you attend, the more times you practice on that main stage, it becomes more comfortable. You get used to that feeling. It's like the bedroom feeling you have at home. You sat there in your own desk, your chair, your cup of tea, you get used to it. You get used to the land setting as well. So the more he plays, the more he's going to get comfortable in that situation. You can see his gameplay there. It showed that he was feeling comfortable up on that stage.
And it was a great energy in the Gfinity arena when it seemed like the guy we chatted to in the audience, Ryan, he was well behind Infused, and then the celebrations in the overtime when they did it. I mean, that was fantastic, wasn't it?
Well, Infused are an all-English team, so they're going to have a lot of fans here, and I think they play off of that environment. So we're saying about Doomsy getting used to the stage environment. He's a hype player, so when he's in his bedroom, if he starts going behind, he starts getting his own head. Whereas here, he knows there's people behind him. He's got his two teammates left and right of him. He can look at them and say, we can do this, and they certainly came back really strong.
Okay, perfect. Well, listen, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get the man himself. Doomsy, the hype man. He's going to enter the arena, so I'd like some round of applause from this lovely audience we have today. I'm going to stand up for you, sir. Great performance. Thanks, come and join us. Look at this. Hey. Lovely Jonesy there. Slip it away. Look at it. It's like a ninja. There we go. Doomsy, welcome to the panel. How are you feeling after that?
Really, really good. Really good. That was amazing. We were a bit, well, not a bit concerned, but when we were 2-1 down, we were a bit like, all right, we've got to like put our heads together and really go for this now. And eventually it worked out, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, how did you find Method? Are you expecting them to play a different style? Because they seemed cagey a lot of the time. They didn't want to push forward too much when there was open goals or opportunities to get goals. They respected you maybe a little bit too much, which is a great compliment to your team. Yeah,
I guess. I think it's more, not so much a compliment to us, but more just, I don't think they are as good on a LAN setting. Like back at DreamHack, they didn't do anywhere near as good. They did way better here than at DreamHack, but they're still like, I think they're just getting used to it. Because usually online they are like a very fast team, but they are inconsistent. But when they're playing well, they're extremely fast, especially a lot. He'll just quickly go for the ball and read balls really well. So we have to like be careful for that, because often we go for balls and they beat us to it.
I asked on set just earlier, I said, oh, why go with Ionite when you've got Radio, who played so well last week? But I mean, I tell you what, he answered all questions there. It was such a convincing performance from Ionite today. Yeah,
he's really good mechanically. Like if a pass goes off the backboard, like he's pretty damn solid at just getting a good read off that and shooting. So like he definitely brings a lot of strength to our table. And he has to be a very exciting player because he's got a very flashy pink car. So you have to deliver it. It's like having a pair of gold football boots. You better be good out there. How did you enjoy the performance from Infused today? Yeah, it was great to see Infused just getting better and better every time we see him in the LAN. And especially you, Doomsy, I felt like you played one of the best games I've ever seen you play in a LAN environment. But having Ignite the team looked great. The other thing, you said about Method not playing as fast as they normally do. I don't think it's about their mechanics not being fast enough, it's their read of the game. They just weren't getting themselves in positions where they could outplay Infused. And I think that was credit to you guys. You were just on it all the time, so much aggression, and it really got into their heads as they just didn't feel confident going up. So a mixture of them not reading the game as well because of the stage environment and just such a quality performance from Infused. And what about yourself? We're looking at some of the replays here. Ionite, another sort of shot that bounces straight in there. I mean, I think that was the first game, wasn't it? That one in the series. So really great play. I mean, you must be walking away from here today just feeling like, yep, feeling really confident for week 3, right? Absolutely. I mean, they were the hardest team. Method were probably the hot favourites to win this thing, and we beat them. So that's pretty good sign for the future. Now, if I was to put you on the spot, and just to talk about some of your goals, if we can watch these, let's talk us through what was going through your head at the time. You did have 4. I forgot. Ooh, hello. More than usual. Like you were. That was good. That was the best one, I think. Just using the rear. I would say it was intentional. I mean, I went to shoot, but I didn't aim top right. I think I aimed top left. But you know, I'll take what I get. Oh. That was an interesting team pinch right there. And then that was the one where Sebadam just like shooting towards the far side was perfect. Yeah, that one there was pretty sick because I think I read Magnus really well. Yeah, he went for a clear and I just read it and passed straight to the middle, and fortunately Seb was there to get another pass off the wall. But I mean, there was a couple of, that was good. That was like a sick pass from Ignite because he did a really solid clear, and you know, on the counter you got to be quick. So the moment that they pushed too hard because they wanted the goal, Ignite just cleared it. I was on the rebound and I just got the shot.
So let's talk about that GS percentage there. How do we break that down on set, Gregan? How do we do that?
Well, in Rocket League, the more shots you get, the more pressure. But if you score more of them, then that's normally a good sign that your team plays are working well. So we often look for goals compared to assists. So if every one of your goal is assisted, then you're probably going to have a better goal-to-shot ratio because it means you're creating better opportunities. But some of the best teams in the world just aim to keep peppering shots in, and eventually they score. So with you, I think it was more of the peppering style you had today. It was you keep putting pressure on them, and eventually a team play when it's all broken down a bit was how you scored. So that's why your goal-to-shot ratio wasn't crazy high, but you did get 4 goals. So
4 goals, 6 saves as well, which really kept you in
Ooh, man. My defense is supposed to be my weakness, but actually, I'll tell you what, my defense was pretty damn good today.
Well, you just
I made some amazing
You said a
reads.
minute ago you don't normally score, you don't normally save. What do you do apart from the Doomsday wiggle?
I just, I mean, that's all I do, isn't it, really? Just wiggle around.
Who coached you how to defend? That's interesting.
I don't know, I think there was some guy, like, he's not very good, but...
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's...
Like,
I know, man. Those nights that we spent
breaking or
together.
something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, way back...
I didn't think you got those DMs, but you did. There we go. I'll tell you what we'll do right now. Ariel is up with one of the members of the losing team, A-Lot, who did play a great game, but let's find out what he thought about that matchup.
He did give it his all, but it wasn't enough. A lot. How are you feeling?
Oh, could feel better, I guess. We didn't win, so.
So, I mean, there's a lot of chat from Doomsday saying that you guys are lacking the LAN experience. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, for sure, yeah.
Is that where you guys went wrong today?
Well, like Doomsday said, we did play better today than we did at DreamHack, so I guess that's good, but I don't know, we should have won, I guess. But.
So you came in with fighting talk, saying that you were going to absolutely pulverize Team Infused. Didn't quite happen. Are you feeling a little bit sheepish now?
Well, you always gotta, think you're the better team, but they did play really well, so, but yeah.
And you're going to come back from this fighting?
For sure, yeah.
For sure. Thanks so much. A lot. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much. A lot to say there. They'll come back fighting. 2 losses. Obviously, that was his first performance because, obviously, their strongest team out today. What can you do, though? 2 losses going into week 3. They want to get into the playoffs to then, progress to potentially win it and get another opportunity to play Infused, potentially. But what can they do now?
I mean, you could see he took that very hard, that loss.
Yeah.
You can see, it was a long series, went right to that game 5, and whenever you go to those game 5s, I'm sure you'll attest to this, if you win, you feel on top of the world. You lose, it hits you so hard after everything you've put into a series. So, it's going to be a difficult one for them, as you say. Now they're 0-2 in the Elite Series, but this is the first time we see this lineup. They had a strong performance, only just managed to lose out to Infused. So, going forward, I think, they've still got the potential to do well. They just need to play a little bit better than they did this week. They still played well, as I say, Infused sneaked the series out in that last game, but there's definitely good signs for them going into the rest of the game. We said Method Infused was going to be the biggest game of the Elite Series so far, so if they can play like that, there's still a lot of hope for them.
Yeah, and obviously Doomsday bringing down his fans. A lot of fans in the audience today. Not saying they're related in any way, shape or form. I'm just saying they are pumped for Infused. How far can they go? Can Infused potentially win this? While Doomsday's right next to me.
I'm going to be honest, I think that's worked out really well for them playing Method this early on, because Method are just going to improve every single week because they need that LAN experience, where Infused have got a history of playing at local LANs in the UK, which is why they have a lot of fans, because they are a UK-based team. And I think it works out quite nicely for them because they're comfortable right here. And as soon as Method start to get a bit more comfortable, they're going to be a scary team to play against.
OK, now, coming up next in the match, we've got Envious, who we haven't seen yet, because they forfeited last week. Have you seen much of them, Envious? And their matchup against Endpoint is going to be very interesting.
I haven't seen much of this roster.
You're familiar with Mount, though, aren't
I'm
you?
very familiar, yeah. the Team Infused Slayer, Mount, yeah. So this one should be a pretty good game. I mean, Endpoint have been doing pretty well. They're not like top tier, but they're definitely contenders for possibly that mid-range table, 4th team or so. So this could be a good game either way.
OK, well, congratulations on the win today,
Thank you
Doomsday.
very much.
Fantastic performance. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a quick look at their results that have come back from today. So far, we have had Prophecy taking on Excel, and they're getting a 3-0 win there. Method, 2, and then Team Infused with 3 after the 4th game went to overtime, which is very exciting. Next up, we will have Team Envious and Endpoint, and then to end the day, Epsilon versus Reason. So, after the break, Tinny and the boys from Endpoint are back. Can they make it 2 wins from 2?